Go ahead. Madam Speaker, journey with me to the year 1770, to a place where sugar was king, a place recorded as having the most sugar estates and factories, and was the highest producer of sugar island-wide. This pivot around sugar led to its second capital being established in 1790, a capital that fast became one of the busiest ports on the North Coast and arguably one of the most vibrant towns. This prosperous town that was built in accordance with the Gridiron Plan boasted hotels, department stores, craftsmen such as goldsmiths, tinsmiths, gunsmiths, and carriage makers, and provided a good living for many. With the prevailing price for sugar being around 50 pounds per ton, it was the richest sugar area in Jamaica. By the early 1900s, however, a fall in the price of sugar on the world market resulted in the decline of the sugar industry and a corresponding decline of the capital. Madam Speaker, it has been reported in a number of historical journals that as early as 1890, Falmouth was practically a ghost town. It begs the questions, where were the leaders? And why has history been repeating itself? Madam Speaker, we are not makers of history. We're made by history. And it was Marcus Mosiah Garvey who said, "A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots." It is this history and the more than 100 years of Falmouth literally falling off the map and out of focus why we are brought here today. Madam Speaker, it is with great pride that I stand here to reclaim those lost years and reintroduce the people of Jamaica to a place I hold very dear to my heart. A place I believe possesses all the raw materials to recover our prosperity. A place I envision as the gateway to our collective economic growth. A place characterized by well-preserved Georgian architecture with its brick, stone, and timber features that immediately transports you back to the 18th century. A place so rich and diverse in its heritage that in 1985, under the Jamaica Heritage Trust Act, a section of Falmouth was declared a protected national heritage site. A place with lush foliage, verdant countrysides, pristine beaches, and rivers that flow for days. A place that is home to some of the most attractive sites you will ever encounter. Sites such as the 1744 Good Hope Estate, the famous St. Peter's Anglican Church built in 1796, the first ever Masonic temple built in 1798, the Bunkers Hill Cultural Experience, and the Luminous Lagoon, which is one of 4 such locations in the world, and the only one where the luminary reaction can be seen 365 days of the year. A place where it appears many men were called in the past to lead, but only one woman has to date been chosen to provide visionary leadership. A place where mysteries have been unveiled, as on September 3, 2020, in a resounding 8,568 votes, with a margin of 1,761, the impossible became possible. For the first time in my certain history, Madam Speaker, a right became wrong. Madam Speaker, it is the place from which I hail, and stand as a proud product and servant leader, where young men and women from D-Side, Drumley, Bunkers Hill, Wakefield, Calabar, Prospect, Spicy Hill, Kinloss, Duanvale, and Falmouth can feel inspired to dream big and do great things, because I stand here as a manifestation of what is possible for them. I speak of none other than the picturesque, unspoiled, panoramic, enchanting constituency of Trelawny Northern. Madam Speaker, permit me at this time, as a student of history, to document some of the legacies of my predecessors in an attempt to contextualize the pain and suffering of the resilient and devoted people of Trelawny Northern over the past 31 lost years. The lack of proper road infrastructure in more than 40 communities, along with the following main corridors: Rio Bueno to Jacksontown, Duncans to Longpond, Duncans to Carey Park, Clarkstown to Kinloss, Martha Bray to Kinloss, D-Side to Drumley, Friendship to Wakefield, Hamden to Wakefield, Saltmarsh to Kent, Cooperspen to Rock, and the road having the greatest notoriety, Falmouth to Springvale. The inconsistent or non-existent water supply, in some instances for as much as 50 years, in communities such as Bounty Hall, Calabar, Samuel Prospect, Jacksontown, Duncans, Crawl, Spicy Hill, Duanvale, Fontebelle, Peru, Bunkers Hill, Cave Island, Danieltown, New Cargan, Perthtown, and Greenmount. The lack of access to education, the dire need for electrification in communities like Greenmount, Mackhill, Kinloss, and Newtown, issues of land titling, the lack of community development, the lack of indigent housing, the lack of broadband services, the lack of MSME support, the lack of employment opportunities, the lack of agricultural support, and little to no youth engagement. Madam Speaker, I understand all too well the value of taking instructions, and I was tasked to deliver this presentation within a specified time frame. It is why I am not at liberty to delve any further into this mammoth legacy of nothingness. Madam Speaker, you can fool all the people some of the time, and some of the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. With a legacy like this, I believe it is fair to conclude that the last 31 years have been 31 years of tomfoolery. Madam Speaker, the business of Trelawny Northern could not continue on autopilot, because we know all too well, where there is no vision, there is no hope. With such a turbulent history and the obvious need for intervention, I have taken the responsibility to provide visionary leadership with the greatest level of sincerity, passion, and determination. Madam Speaker, we can't change history, but we can shape our future. For us in Trelawny Northern, the future is not a place we want to go. It's a place we want to create. It is my fervent mission to leapfrog Trelawny Northern from its 1890 state of decline to that of a 21st century model constituency. The road to recovery over the last year has been filled with many bumps, craters, and potholes, but many a times has taken us off the beaten path where the journey was anything but smooth. Despite the obstacles, however, we have maintained the course because we know that difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations. Madam Speaker, it is often said that the road to development begins with a road. If you should ponder on this statement, you will find that it is quite profound, as roads are the arteries through which an economy pulses. They link purveyors to markets, workers to jobs, students to schools, the sick to hospital. If we believe this mantra, it would mean that roads are vital to any development agenda. Now, if that premise holds true, based on the state of our roads, the only logical conclusion to be made is that there has been no development agenda for Trelawny Northern in a very long time. Based on the need for deliberate strategic development and the knowledge of the magnitude of work to be done, there was swift action to recover through rehabilitation and patching exercises the worst sections of the following roads: Wakefield, Bounty Hall, Kettering, Danieltown, Granville, Holland, Panarsus, Perthtown, Garrido, Martha Bray, the Georgia Main Road leading to Samuel Prospect, and the Duncans Main Road. Madam Speaker, the more extensive works carried out in the communities of Bunkers Hill and the Calabar left residents in awe. They recounted that the last time they were given any such attention was as far back as the 1980s. I must hasten to inform the House that these works previously identified were not done with additional funding allocated to the constituency, but were done with resources that were available to my predecessor that he simply had no interest to use. Funding that collectively amounted to more than $50 million. Madam Speaker, clearly, one man's loss is this woman's gain. Through the National Housing Trust Scheme Upgrading Program, rehabilitation of roads in the Vanzilans community was completed during the period at a cost of approximately $38 million. Madam Speaker, allocations have been made through the Constituency Development Fund and the Spruce Up Jamaica program for repairs to be undertaken to the Reserve Main Road and Pitt Street in Falmouth, respectively. These works, which are expected to cost a total of approximately $6.3 million, should start within a month. Further allocations have also been made to repair the Mountain Hill Road through the Farm Road program at a cost of approximately $6 million. This project is also quite advanced, as a contract has already been signed for works to begin. Madam Speaker, it gives me great pleasure to announce that through sustained advocacy of the Minister with responsibility for works, the following projects with allocations amounting to some $325 million have been approved and are at various stages of procurement. Rio Bueno to Jacksontown, Saltmarsh to Kent, D-side to Drumley, Falmouth to Springvale, the Martha Bray leg, Falmouth to Springvale, the Wakefield to D-side leg, and the construction of a box culvert at the Perthtown fording. Madam Speaker, there is absolutely no cost that will be too great for the recovery of my beloved Trelawny Northern. It was in 1799 that the locals petitioned for the establishment of a proper water supply system to serve the town of Falmouth. It became one of the first areas in the island to enjoy piped water, which was pumped from the center of the town at Water Square up until 1950. Of interest is the fact that Falmouth enjoyed piped water before New York City, which was sourced from the Martha Bray River. The Martha Bray River, Madam Speaker, that now supplies potable water to residents in the parishes of St. Anne and St. James, yet so many communities in this constituency are still without the precious commodity, leaving residents to question whether water is really life. Madam Speaker, to support residents impacted by the lack of water supply, my office has made water available through trucking and donated in excess of 38 black tanks as a temporary measure because we believe for every problem there is a solution. Notwithstanding the challenges, our advocacy has yielded positive responses from the National Water Commission as works have been undertaken to expand their service and improve distribution. The recent completion of Phase 1 of the Wakefield to Bunkers Hill pipeline replacement project has improved water supply to residents of Wakefield, Friendship, and Bunkers Hill at a cost of approximately $69 million.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the member's time, having looked at what is here, be extended sufficiently to allow her to finish her presentation. May I please?
The question before the House is that the member be given sufficient time to complete her presentation. Those in favour? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it.
The second phase of this project, Madam Speaker, is at the design stage and is expected to be undertaken within the next financial year. Madam Speaker, works on the $200 million Dornoch and Greater Dornoch water supply rehabilitation and upgrading project began in April 2021. Upon completion in February 2022, the residents of Brampton, Calabar, and the Samuel Prospect will, after more than 39 years, stand to benefit. The Martha Brae River has the capacity to produce 11 million gallons of water per day, but currently only produces 8 million gallons, resulting from an insufficient power supply at intake. In an effort to yield full capacity, a contract has been awarded to upgrade the power supply to the facility. These works should be completed by the end of January 2022 and will allow the NWC to better serve its customers. The residents of Bounty Hall are at their wits' end with the inconsistent water supply to their communities over the last 50 years. Damage to the pumping unit at the Bounty Hall relift happens too frequently, to the frustration of residents. Upon my appeal to the Minister with responsibility for water, 2 new pumps, duty and standby, have been approved to be installed within the next 4 to 6 months to ensure improved reliability. Madam Speaker, for more than 60 years, the residents of Greenmount have been appealing to successive representatives for assistance to develop their community. I was the first representative to ever visit the community, and I was immediately moved to act. My appeal to the Jamaica Social Investment Fund for intervention was met with a quick response and approval for the electrification of more than 100 households, to the marvel and delight of all residents. Madam Speaker, come Christmas 2021, we will be changing the lives of the Greenmount residents by powering them with love and light. Madam Speaker, the benefits of education are many. It is a powerful agent of change that contributes to social stability and drives long-term economic growth. There is no investment in education that won't yield high dividends, and so it has been a long-time focus of mine. The education program over the last year has seen 106 students benefiting from tuition grants, 139 students from school bags, textbooks, and stationery, and over 220 tablets distributed to students through both public and private sector support. The total spend on education to date amounts to $8.5 million and includes the cost of an additional 50 tablets currently being procured through the Constituency Development Fund. We also eagerly await the 100 tablets to be supplied by the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Madam Speaker, the COVID-19 pandemic has caused some amount of displacement in our society, and our most vulnerable have not been spared. This has triggered responses from various ministries of government and have served as welcome additions to the regular funding made available through the Constituency Development Fund. Collectively, these responses have made the following provisions available: 33 funeral grants, 22 medical grants, 100 compassionate grants, 75 entrepreneurial grants, 149 billion grants, and 2,474 care packages that were funded through both public and private sector. The total spend to date amounts to more than $13.2 million. Madam Speaker, I must thank the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation for responding to my request for the provision of indigent housing to one lucky family in Wakefield. This project is currently underway and is expected to be completed within a month. Through the new social housing program administered by the Hope Unit, an additional 3 projects are to be undertaken that are at various stages of procurement. Madam Speaker, never before has there been an ongoing bushing of communities than we have done in the last year. This type of heightened maintenance has also been extended to spaces such as the Falmouth Cemetery, Victoria Park, and a number of community playfields. Efforts have also been made to keep our drains clean. Madam Speaker, a submission has been made to the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, which will see improvements to the Bounty Hall Community Centre, home to the famous Harmony Football Club, and similar works being undertaken to complete the almost 20-year-old unfinished community centre in Falmouth Gardens. Wakefield, Duncans, thank you, Minister. Wakefield, Duncans, and Clarkstown have been approved by the Universal Service Fund for the installation of community Wi-Fi. Similar approval was also previously given for a free public Wi-Fi hotspot to be commissioned in the town of Falmouth. Madam Speaker, history shows that agriculture has been the main focus of Trelawny Northern's economy for centuries. Unfortunately, there is little to really show for this dominance today, due inter alia to the rise and corresponding fall of King Sugar, the historical dependence on that commodity, and poor leadership. Madam Speaker, we are still convinced of the vital role agriculture plays in the life of any economy, but our past experiences must never be ignored in the shaping of our future. It is because of this conviction why we are in the process of assisting more than 113 farmers with various agricultural inputs to improve current levels of agricultural productivity. I welcome the opportunity to provide even greater assistance to our Trelawny Northern farmers. Madam Speaker, my vision is to see my hometown realize its truest potential and for Falmouth to once again take its rightful place among the greatest. And since the vision is clear, the strategy is easy. With the rehabilitation of our roads, improvements to our water supply, electrification of our communities, expansion of our housing stock, investment in education, the provision of broadband services, and greater levels of agricultural productivity, we are well on our way to creating our future. A future, Madam Speaker, that will forever be green and prosperous. Madam Speaker, this journey was only made possible by the diligent and the supportive people of Trelawny Northern, to whom I owe a debt of gratitude. Permit me to specially acknowledge the leadership of the Jamaica Labour Party, the electorate, our party workers, my support team, some of whom are here in the gallery today, and my family. Madam Speaker, as I continue along this road to recovery, I pray the Almighty will forever grant me wisdom, protection, and good health. I thank you, Madam Speaker.